If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast, with everything you need all in one place. My fiance originally put me onto this app, and I'm so glad that she did. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcast, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And dude, the best part, Anchor is absolutely free. So download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm today. That's ANCHOR.FM. (5,538 feet above sea level, 104 steps from OK Street). The Streets Photog podcast is recording from Bisbee this weekend. I'm your host, David Joseph Del Grand. And this is the second edition of Friday Feelings. I wanted to start off with a quote that I get from a daily email from Daily Inspiration. It's a quote from Rania Al-Abdullah, who is the wife of King Abdullah II of Jordan. Quote, "We are stronger when we listen and smarter when we share." Now, Rania is described as a champion of her people and someone who backs several humanitarian causes around the world, including education, women's rights, and cultural understanding. My Daily Inspiration email describes this quote as something that reminds us that we're better together, and everyone benefits when we engage in respectful dialogue where we're free to share our experiences and feelings. And we are stronger when we listen. I am a regular listener of the Joe Rogan show, and I know it's a controversial thing and it's very odd to me, but I appreciate the people that he's willing to speak with, a lot of whom I don't agree with politically, but decades before I was listening to Joe Rogan, I was always a person that was willing to listen to someone who had a different opinion than mine when it comes to politics or anything along those lines. And I think that served me as a professional journalist when I was in the field. But, and don't get me wrong, there's a caveat to that. And obviously I'm not going to listen to someone who's a Holocaust denier, for example. But, you know, if you're an open carry supporter and a pro-life person, I will hear you out. And the fun part about debating with someone like that is that you get to strengthen your resolve and your belief system. And then when it's something you're on the fence about, you get to potentially make your opinions about the world a little bit more nuanced, a little bit more gray in a political spectrum that we're currently dealing with, which is largely very black and white. It's either yes or no, A or B. And for anyone with a little wisdom and perspective, they will know that life exists somewhere in the gray area. But this quote really, really struck me, this part of the quote really struck me. We're stronger when we listen to one another and have a dialogue and engage. And the deplatforming of people that you don't particularly agree with doesn't make any sense to me, because that political thought or that thought about the world doesn't go away just because you don't hear it. And then the second part of the quote, and we're smarter when we share. And I think that relates to my photography and my creative output far greater than the beginning part of this quote. Now, whether you have a huge community that's following your photography or creative work, or a small
community. If I know through my own experience that if I'm absent for a little while, it impacts the people who enjoy my work. And I don't have some great reach on social media at this point. I'm working towards growing that every day, and I get to meet a lot of great people along the way. But I know that if I was failing to share my insights either on this podcast or the photographs that I'm taking on a daily basis on Instagram, the world would be a little dimmer. And everyone has that. Every creative has that, where yes, your community may be 100 people, but if you put that in perspective, if you've ever been a musician or someone had to address people live, standing in front of 100 people in real time can be intimidating for most people. I would say is intimidating for most people. So, being out there, being vulnerable, and sharing our experiences and building this community as creative photographers and creative writers is an antidote to some of the political strife that we see. We don't have to always get along, but everyone out there creating and putting good energy into the world is just a little love letter to what we have now. And it's a lot greater than what the bloody headlines will tell you every morning when you click on your phone. So that's my Friday feel today. Bisbee's been great so far. It's about 85 degrees. Oh, happy Friday the 13th. I'm very excited about that. 13 is one of my favorite numbers because I don't believe in luck. I think sometimes you get fortunate, but luck, quote unquote, is that luck comes when you're busting your tail. And that's what I got today. If you're looking to support this podcast and my other creative adventures, hop on to my website, davidjdelgrand.com, and purchase my first self-published softcover photo book, Lutes del Barrio.